Good morning, everyone. Saucy here. Today is actually March 3rd, and I wanted to go over some of the changes that are coming out here within the hour once the servers come back up. Um, so it looks like Blizzard has been busy. Last week they removed the unique inventory cap of the vessels that you can buy for the 10,000 coalescing visions. They removed it from 5, unfortunately did not make them stackable in your inventory yet. Let's see how far they go before they actually listen to all of our demands instead of just making step-by-step progress, but we'll see how it goes. Today, they're actually removing the 25,000 limit of coalescing visions. It was such an awkward number just because 10,000 is what you needed for a vessel, and the cap was just randomly at a 5,000 coalescing vision mark. So the Ash of the Black Empire will also award 12,500 coalescing visions instead of a vessel of horrific vision and the 2,500 coalescing visions. The reason for that, I'm sure, is just to take up less inventory space since they did not make it stackable for the vessels. They also added a couple new tweaks, I suppose, well, mainly nerfs, to Twilight Devastation just because it was such an overpowered corruption. Twilight Devastation's effectiveness has now been reduced in situations where it strikes more than 5 targets. It will deal normal damage for up to 5 targets, which shouldn't be a huge deal for the visions that we're doing, as we don't pull much more than 5 targets, but it will be for larger fights, like for example in the Ny'alotha raid. Twilight Devastation will now deal 50% reduced damage to targets 6 through 10. And then the Shrink Radius each time it damages a target above 5, causing it to disappear after hitting 10 targets. Meaning that you cannot on the, for example, Carapace fight, when 1,000, or I guess you get 20 of those little spawn ads along with the Fury of N'Zoth, it looks like you cannot just spam Twilight Devastation in order to nuke them down. The tank will not be parsing, I guess, anymore in the orange category. Those parsers are set, and it looks like they will be there until the end of time. Another change they made was the Heart of Azeroth, the Formless Void rank 3 that comes from the Ny'alotha raid. The miner should no longer break rogues out of stealth, and they also corrected an issue with Memory of the Lucid Dream, where Frost mages using Glacial Spike and an instant cast Flurry could sometimes have their Icicle debuff, buff count and visual display not match. And for PvP, they actually corrected the issue where the Vision of Perfection's rank 3 miner was removed when entering an arena. So now people will be actually able to use that correctly. Another change they added was an improvement to the quality of life for the assault in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. They added a portal to exit the Pool of Power after defeating Vilrax, if I said that correctly, in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms, as opposed to having to turn around and run back and probably getting ganked by a 50 Alliance on your way out. In terms of the Ny'alotha raid, looks like there's been quite a few changes with Prophet Skitra to begin with, beginning at the rolling restart, which should be up in about 30 minutes. Now only has 2 intermission phases instead of 4 on all difficulties, and she will enter them at 33% and 66% respectively instead of the 20, 40, 60, and 80 that she previously had. Also, the Dark Ritual debuff will now be increased by 4% per stack instead of 2%, especially since there's less intermissions now. Ra-Den is also getting a buff, or actually I guess it's a nerf. Void Collapse time is increased to 4.5 seconds on Raid Finder, Normal, and Heroic difficulties. Looks like Mythic difficulty will be unchanged. And also reduce the damage of Void Collapse on all difficulties, with that including Mythic. With regional restarts, also Void Defilement duration decreased to 6 seconds on Mythic difficulty. N'Zoth the Corruptor himself actually has a couple of nerfs. Azeroth's Radiance will now restore 25 sanity, it was 20 sanity, and the Thought Harvesters actually got a majority of the nerf though, as the shadow damage they inflict was reduced by 10%, and their sanity drain was reduced from 400% to down to 300%. And their developers notes is basically saying that they saw that people were running immunities in order to soak them, and that's not exactly how they wanted to lock down the Mythic N'Zoth fight. They didn't want to make it, where you have to run 5 mages or whatever the case may be in order to kill it. They want a more wide range of raid composition viable in the Mythic difficulty, so they reduced it so that people can actually do the mechanic the way it was designed. Lastly, it looks like they added hunters can now tame Juggernaut pets in the Siege of Orgrimmar raid. I guess Siege of Orgrimmar is coming back up on the radar, since we are in the Vale of Eternal Blossoms every single day now, trying to get the Coalescing Visions dailies done. And that's going to be it for today's video. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to help support the channel. Other than that, I will catch you all later. Goodbye.